College London. He's well known as a developer of IFR, and he conducted so many international collaborations like advice studies, defined flare, orbiter, and defined PCI studies. Today he's going to talk about AI-based angio-FFR. His title is As Deep an Innovation as ChatGPT. Thank you, please.
Thanks very much for your kind introduction. It's great to be back here in Japan. Dr. Ku said he had an adventurous title. I've certainly got one. There's obviously a lot of fuss at the moment about AI, but I think that it's coming into medicine in a big way, and I'm very excited to be able to share what I think is a pretty pivotal technology with you. I describe this as where we are really is cognitive physiology 2.0, much of what we've heard today, and I'm going to just start off by showing some of that. Also talk a little bit about why AI and how does it work, and what's the promise really to overcome conventional limitations and solutions. So this is the world I think we're in, or we're entering to very soon. You've seen some of these great technologies discussed today. Some of them are evolving and coming. Some of them use computers in new ways, embracing artificial intelligence to either guide procedures inside the procedure if it's invasive, or optimizing flow signals in a completely new way, or using them to either set up or actually fully interpret images from the angiograms itself. So it's a very exciting era. And why really artificial intelligence? Well, I think that we all know that when we're in the cath lab doing procedures, there's often a lot going on. And it's very easy for us to have a lot of different data streams and potentially miss some important signs and signals which are there for us. So using these tools, it's literally like having another pair of eyes which can help make a decision, and I think that they're only going to get better and better. So I think it can help with precision, accuracy, speed, and we see there's been a kind of evolution, I think, of physiological evaluation, moving up from the very start of the angiogram itself to the pressure wire revolution, where the pressure wires were first introduced. Very small, narrow tubes, not affecting flow, and therefore you get a more accurate measure of the pressure itself. Then the innovations that we've seen, these great technologies, using the angiogram itself and the CT to actually derive, using established Navier-Stokes equations, these flow patterns to derive the physiology. And then as we move ahead to kind of end-to-end AI solutions, as I like to call them, these are solutions which basically use artificial intelligence to shortcut the circuit and actually make decisions much more in a way that we do and how we learn as well. So I think that, as I've said, I think that these tools are going to give us a major advantage over conventional tools. There's a high degree of accuracy. The speed of processing is really exciting. We're talking about 30 seconds for processing with full automation rather than minutes, and it can be really easily integrated into clinical practice. So you don't need to export it off to a separate console. Everything happens. You get an answer in front of your eyes without actually doing anything. There, of course, is the opportunity for you to manually intervene if you want to, but it's not something you actually have to do. There's also another really exciting caveat here, which comes on the tail of this, is that this is really just the start of the journey for these tools, because once you have a system which it can recognize various structures in the heart, then you can start to do lots of other cool things with it as well. So you can start to implement flow parameters, microvascular disease parameters. You can start using pullback, and essentially it learns in a very intuitive and clever way to give us more answers with just one angiogram. So this is the system, the MedHub AutocathFFR system. It's a tool which has been in commercial use now for around 18 months. It's hands-free. It doesn't require a change to the angiographic workflow. And what I mean by that is that no longer is the requirement there to take two orthogonal views. So you can take whichever views you would require to open up the lesion. You can move the table and pan as you may do as part of a normal procedure. As I said, in around 95% of cases, everything's automated, so you don't need a technician to intervene. results come up for each video view in around 30 seconds, and they're displayed on the angiogram screen that you're working on as well. So for me, this is a very, very important step forward. You can see in these screens here how the tool itself automatically recognises arteries. It knows what they are, and it knows the label of the arteries, and it can see in different views the same lesion. So here you see it's identified the same view in a circumflex artery in 2 different views, and it's giving you an FFR value for each. It works on the basis that effectively the more views you have, the more certainty it has, and it effectively refines the FFR answer for you. You can click anywhere in the artery if you want and get an answer in the location if you want to measure somewhere else. So very simple and very straightforward. So this can be used and is indeed being used for online calculation of FFR. So it's a real-time diagnostic tool or decision support hands-free tool, as we like to call it. But it's also got something pretty neat as well up its sleeve. Because it doesn't require intervention from the operator, because it just effectively can calculate the values without any human intervention, it means that this can be used in an offline basis for many other different purposes. For instance, if you want to check the appropriateness of your PCIs, perhaps to do an audit in your department, or maybe as part of insurance requirements for reimbursement, it can effectively just be running this as an offline service. If you want to review cases which may be sent to you from a colleague, you can upload a CD of the images, the dicom images, and they can be interpreted, and you can get these answers very quickly and very rapidly. So whilst most of these online services are running inside the hospital, having cloud-based services which offer second opinions and so on and so forth is very feasible and possible with this technology. I'm just going to spend a few minutes to walk through how these technologies essentially work. Firstly show you component descriptions, then effectively how the algorithms are trained. So like most of these algorithms, they work by identifying the arteries and then the lesions, and then essentially working out the physiology value. Where this differs is the end game here is not really determining the boundary of the arteries or the boundary conditions which you put into Navier-Stokes equations, then chugging away through some CFD model. The system here is all designed essentially to learn from an image what the FFR value is. And it does this by this series of iterative steps, which, as I said, take place in about 35 seconds. So firstly, it looks at what the best phase is, framing, it's choosing a diastolic phase, and it's looking for where the maximum contrast is. Then it eliminates the background, then it identifies the vessel and knows which area the lesion effectively would be in. It then identifies all lesions which have got a stenosis of more than 25%, and then it brings together all of these features. So there are around 150 features that it uses to determine the FFR value. 130 of them are ones which are derived from the genetic process of this whole procedure, and around 20 of them are kind of manual features that you and I may consider to be important for stenosis recognition. And then it goes through this process called FFR regression, which is a process which determines what the final FFR value is. This system, the MedHub system, has been trained with over 400 million single frames. I mean, this is a lot of data has been used here. And you can see at each of these individual steps, I've put in what the training was essentially to make this work. So you can imagine, to look at the best diastolic window, you're going to take into account both the contrast on the X-ray image, but also the ECG, looking at the vessel structure, looking at extracting the background image from the actual arteries themselves. When looking to identify an artery, you're looking at the labeling, which said the artery's all been labeled, and then it just learns what an LED circular coronary artery is. And similarly, it's learned from labeling again what stenoses are. So it brings all these features together to very rapidly give you an answer. So as you can see, it's an incredibly different but very powerful approach to everything else. So this is a tool which is not just a nice idea or a PowerPoint presentation. As I said, it's been used in 4 hospitals in Israel for the last 18 months. Should be FDA cleared by the end of the year, and so PMDA cleared for here in Japan by the end of the year as well. So has CE mark, so the system is also starting to be now used in Europe as well. There's quite a lot of clinical data, of course, with technologies as they evolve. the data becomes richer and richer. The first data sets which we used for the pivotal the study for the FDA showed an accuracy of over 93% with high levels of sensitivity and specificity, and further feasibility studies have been carried out showing similar values. You can see this is a scatter plot and band order plot from those first initial studies, which were encouraging, and this data was published back in the American Journal of Cardiology. We've been using this for a while in Israel, so over 18 months. They're using this in 75% of their cardiac catheterization cases. So this is a huge number, and if you think about how hard we've all worked to try and get more physiology being used over the years, this is something which really could drive this. And of course, this plays at the heart of us all. People are busy. They want a system which just shows them the answer. They want to have confidence in that system, and they want to be able to use that routinely. We also found that 5% of cardiac catheterization cases were using the system offline as well. More and more data keeps on coming in. As I said, it very much depends on the distribution. Here you can see this is from another group in Israel, from their real-world experiences. It's going to be tight lesions, they're going to be mild lesions, they're going to be normal arteries, they do it on everyone. And you get an accuracy here of around 92% with, again, very high level of sensitivity and specificity. Here's a table just to show you some of the competitive landscape out there. So we've got the MedHub system and the other providers out there. And what I would just say to you is that this, I think, positions this system as a real game changer in a unique position. It's fully automated, detects the stenosis on its own, it's real time and offline, whichever one you want to use it. It uses machine learning and AI and computer vision, and it can use any two angiograms and not reliant on them being orthogonal or not. Significant speed advantages, which means that it's very streamlined for the cath lab. It means that it doesn't take you as an operator out of the lab to do the analysis, and it maintains high levels of clinical performance. Future developments are always there, of course, and as I said to you, the pullback will be there very shortly. That's a very exciting iteration of this technology, and also some very exciting work being done on the microvascular function as well to add that in this functionality. So envision today where you take a series of angiograms, you get a physiology result from the stenosis significance, but then you're also getting a pullback, and from that, the microvascular state as well. So I think that this is going to be a significant game changer. So, just really to answer this question, AI AutocathFFR's biggest innovation is ChatGPT. Well, of course it's not. I mean, ChatGPT is amazing. I mean, this really is amazing. But I think that it's a pretty close second. And I'd like to just finish by saying that AI is becoming increasingly important in interventional cardiology. I think that all of the technologies which we use are going to be very reliant on this going forward. I think previously we all know this was used in kind of detection of skin lesions or tumours and x-rays and so on and so forth. But now it's being used in moving images, it's being used in tools such as this, and I think it's going to add significant value to the data we already have. It's going to make our lives a little bit easier in the decision-making perspective, but also, of course, make the diagnosis we make for patients more reliable. Thanks very much for your attention.